My name is Dylin Salman, professionally known as Hawaii Mike. And I got a company called Chef for Hire, and I'm working on a few other things, but we are about community, culinary, and culture. I moved to Brooklyn January of 1994. Clinton Hill, Waverly between Fulton and Gates, AKA The Wave. My Brooklyn love story is probably just knowing and meeting cats like Biggie, and because I moved literally around the corner, and one of my best friends is Matty C, so like I was around all of that and getting to see all that. So like the Juicy video was me getting off the train pretty much every day and seeing all that crew right there. Ended up on tour with them when I was road managing Mobb Deep, so like Biggie was definitely my Brooklyn moment for sure. I mean, changes in Brooklyn have come in abundance, especially over the past 10 to 15 years. New York in general, right? But there was a certain level of, you had to know how to move, you had to know how to walk. There was a certain code of the streets that I kind of miss. Not to say you want to ever see anybody hurt or people robbed. Like, I'm happy we don't have that part anymore. But the understanding of boundaries and just like respect of people's neighborhoods and everything else, I think is missing, and I wish we still had some of that. But you can't stand still. Everything is changing constantly. We're constantly in motion and moving, right? Stillness and motion. So we got to embrace change as well. We're still the second largest city in the country if we were our own. It's super diverse if you find the pockets still, right? There's obviously a lot of gentrification, but it's still my home, and it's still something I have to do here. And I guess it's probably serving my community in some way. When the pandemic first happened, there was a few words that came out, and immunity was the first one that kind of struck me. And immunity has another word in it, unity. Right? And there's 13 other words that have the word unity. And so when I saw it, I looked at immunity as our oneness, right? Because nobody was immune from this. Everybody's susceptible. This affects everyone in one way, shape, or form. And so I looked at that as an opportunity, another word with unity, to look at it at a different perspective. From an artist to an entrepreneur, anybody who's dealing with fear, I say lean into it. And I think we're in a perfect time to do whatever it is you want to do. You have all the information at your hands, right? Do your Googles, do your research. So, I mean, the cannabis industry, as legalization started to kind of present itself nationally on a state level, people started to just kind of look at me and ask, what am I gonna do and how am I gonna participate? I had a random encounter with someone who was cooking with cannabis, and we started a little partnership, and long story short, it didn't work out, so I started doing it on my own, and it just kind of like caught me, because again, it put together some of my passions, right? Cannabis has been around me forever, and food, I've been cooking since I was 9. We were cooking and infusing foods and beverages, right? And we're working with actual establishments. I was working with Soho House and doing CBD dinners with them. I was working with the Nomad, the James Nomad Hotel, and we were providing in-room products, oil and everything for cooking in the restaurant. The justice system, as far as legalization and the history of prohibition in this country, is very heavily tied to race. But I mean, that's part of the systemic racism that this country is kind of built on in general. If you look at places like Colorado, right? There's not a ton of people of color in Colorado, right, at all. And the arrest rates from legalization have not changed. They're still 3 and 4 to 1. So I'm like, are you arresting the same people of color? Because how many do you have out there? But then they tout Colorado as the pinnacle, the best, the premier industry for cannabis. I think right now we may be at under 4% for Black-owned businesses within the cannabis industry. People of color may be around 10% in total. But how do we still account for over 80% of the arrests when it's been proven that it's fair use, similar use on both sides? Our generation, Generation X, like the people that were there, built everything for hip hop in the 90s, are extremely important. We're the last of analog and the first of digital. If we're the influence of pretty much everything in popular culture, right? From music to fashion to just style in general, right? When are we going to start just completely building our own? And I'm hoping that's what we start doing in the near future.